Hello V Squad, welcome back to another episode of VGIRL TV. Welcome back to my canal de YouTube, and it is Friday, and because it is Black History Month, okay, Etnia Negra in Panama, I've decided to come up with this cute little theme for Fridays, and it is called Fun Facts Fridays. And every Friday I will be giving you some important facts about Panama. Today we will be talking about the African leader Bayano. So for those of you who do not know, Panama played an integral part of the slave trade because of its location. It was literally in the center of everything close to the Americas, Europe, Asia. It was literally the center. So obviously the slave trade played a major role in Panama's history. Regional slave markets were established in locations in Colón, or in a location in Colón called Portobello. Now Portobello is a part of Colón that is located on the coastal line of the Colón area. For those of you who have ever been to Colón and you ever went to the beach, you actually have to go through Portobello to get to the beach. And usually they call those people costeños because they are from the costa, the coast. Because of the location of Panama and because of huge part of the slave trade, many people from countries like Spain, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, and as well as Panama would gather at Portobello to purchase African slaves. Now usually, if you don't know, there was a port in Portobello. They still have like ruins, so if you ever visit Panama, you might want to visit Portobello because there's a huge rich history behind Portobello. So if you haven't had a chance to watch my other videos, I have kind of touched this topic already. A lot of Panamanians are literally mixed with their Afro descendants, and some are just pure Afro descendants, but majority of people that are here in Panama it's so much of a melting pot and it's so much of a mixed race country that no one is ever 100% of one thing. I can't even say that about myself because I found out some stuff about my history that blew my mind. So the descendants of Africans that arrived to Panama during the colonial era are a small part of Panama's population known as Afro-Panamanians. The communities in which they lived were areas like Darien, which I told you before, Portobello, Colón, and various areas throughout Panama, but for the most part, those are the main concentrated areas where you would find descendants from Africans. So the first wave of Africans that were brought to Panama was in the 1500s, which brings me to the story of Bayano. So Bayano was an African who was brought to Panama, and he was actually from the Yoruba tribe in West Africa, and he was brought over to Panama to be enslaved. And this man was so important. So the reason why Bayano was so important was because he led one of the biggest revolts in history in the 16th century. So the details on whether the revolt started on the slave ship or on ground is kind of depends on who's telling you the story. You don't really know. It's kind of like a gray area in regards to how it started or where it started, but the fact still remains, it happened. So once he arrived to Panama, i.e. the Darien area, Bayano was enslaved, and homeboy was like, not this one, you're not gonna enslave me. And so he became the leader of what was then called the Cimarrones. The Cimarrones was a group of Africans that formed together a group. I don't want to say a gang because anytime you say gang, it sounds really just negative. It has a negative connotation behind it, so I don't want to say gang, but they were a group of Africans who were enslaved who played a huge part of the revolt. So once these group of Africans arrived to Panama, they realized what was going on and were like, no, we are not going to be enslaved. So what they did was they rebelled under the leadership of Bayano and ran up into the jungles of Darien and set up shop there. So they had different areas where they were literally governing themselves, and they were successfully able to fight off Spaniards and any indigenous people who wanted to attack them, and they basically got their own freedom. And they were able to do this using guerrilla style warfare. And it wasn't only the Spaniards they fought off, like they were really about that life. Like they fought off everybody. So they fought off the Spaniards, pirates, indigenous people, anyone who they felt were coming to attack them or to take over or to do anything that was harmful. They were able to successfully fend off any outside attacks. So the Cimarrones set up different regions called palenques, which is so funny because there's a part of Panama that is called Palenque, and I never really put two and two together until I started doing research on this particular person. And I'm like, oh, no wonder they named this place Palenque. So upon doing my research, they stated that Bayano's religion was Christian. I really don't believe that. I believe strongly that their religion was African spirituality. And I say that because of the influence that African spirituality plays in a dance that they have here called Congo. And I'm gonna actually get into that in another video, but that's the reason why I feel the way that I feel in regards to their belief practices. But I was not there, don't quote me, this is just my personal opinion. If you ever went to, like, there's a restaurant in Casco Viejo and there's a drink called Cimarrones. So the Cimarrones and Bayano played a huge part in Panama's history, that there are literally like rivers, restaurants, drinks, there's different things that's named after these. Subsequently, towards the end, this went on for a long time where Bayano and the Cimarrones were able to be free. Basically, to make a long story short, what I feel is that the government kind of got a little bit, they were kind of like a little nervous because you just didn't know what they were capable of doing, because if they were able to fight off these groups, literally every and anybody, they believed that they were a threat to the country. So the colonial governor at the time, Pedro Ursua, and he came to Bayano and was like, you know what, let's end this beef, right? Let's call it truce. And Bayano was like, okay, cool, we'll do that. But it was basically a setup. He captured the Cimarrones leader. He sent him to Peru, and then later on they sent him to Spain, where he ended up dying. So I thought that this would be a fun fact for you guys, and I'm actually gonna do this every Friday, Fun Facts Friday, and I'll be giving you information or fun facts about the history of Panama. So I hoped that this was interesting, or you found this video interesting. And if you love Fun Facts Friday, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. Leave it in the comment section and let's discuss Bayano. I wanted to open up this history lesson because I feel like we are lacking, and a lot of people really don't know anything about Panama. I've done previous videos where people would be like, oh, what the heck is Panama? Where's Panama? And it's time that us Panamanians, like, we stand up, okay? It's time that we become a voice for the people and let people know about our culture and how interesting our culture is. And yes, there are Black people in Panama, which is the most important thing. So if you like this video, guys, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you like Fun Fact Fridays, leave a comment in this comment section. Oh, and also I want to thank every single body who has donated and sent thank yous, super thanks. I appreciate it. You guys don't know how much it means to me every time I get a super thanks. So as usual, guys, peace and love.